Welcome to another great episode of Amanda on the Island. I'm your host, Amanda Garguilo. I am lucky enough to be joined by Richard Luthmann, and we're going to be discussing the Janet Posley-Jordan case. I'm going to let you discuss it so this way I don't mess anything up.
All right.
Fair enough, right?
So I have a case, and we filed this case in Kings County, which is Brooklyn. And we filed this case, and it relates to, and I'll read you the caption, is Janet Posley-Jordan is the plaintiff, and she's a nice young lady, versus the Staten Island Mental Health Society, and some of the individuals at the Staten Island Mental Health Society. And we filed this case because Janet has 5 kids, and Janet is an excellent young woman, and like a lot of people on Staten Island, she run into a rough patch. And so she has 5 beautiful daughters that range in age, I believe, from 9 all the way to basically newborn. And Janet was hit a rough patch where she fell into drug and alcohol abuse. And that was about 2.5 years, almost 3 years ago. She's 2.5 years clean now. And she's been doing a great job. And now she's a person that, who really has been showing leadership ability, showing an ability to really get with the program that she has, and to stay with that and follow the directions in her treatment program, and follow the directions of the family court, and she's really an A+ person, and she's someone that cares for her children and is seeking to get her children back and have full custody of the children. Well, but for the actions of the Staten Island Mental Health Society, she would be with her children today. And this is really a truly outrageous and egregious situation that we're in, because it centers around something that's really become a blight on the North Shore of Staten Island especially, which is K2. And K2 is synthetic marijuana, if people don't know it. There's a test that they give for synthetic marijuana, and the test that they give is, one of the tests is a urine-based test. You little dipsticks, and you dip it into the dip. Almost like when you do the chlorine test for the pool. You dip it in, you see it, it comes back. And so last August, as part of a program, Janet goes to the program, gets a test, a random test for the K2. And she's at the Staten Island Mental Health Society, and they're administering the program. They do the test, and it comes back positive. So she's in disbelief because she hasn't been using. So give me another test. I blatantly wasn't lying. Takes another test, they take the test, and it comes back positive. She's like, no, this wasn't me. And then they turn around and they basically say, no, you must have been exposed to the K2. She says, no, I wasn't. And she went up to the Bronx and got a full blood panel, and that came back negative. Meanwhile, the Staten Island Mental Health Society makes a report. And they make a report because they're mandated to by the family court. And they make a report to the family court, they make a report to ACS, which is the Administration for Children's Services. And what happens is they make the report, and because of this report, Janet was just days away from moving out of a shelter on Staten Island and moving from that shelter to housing in Brooklyn. And she would have a situation of housing where she would be able to get furniture, and she'd have a site suitability visit by ACS. And there's all these different steps that were going to occur, and she would first start getting overnights with the children, and the children would be released to her. Because of this positive test, everything stopped. Created a cascade where ACS said, no, you must have been exposed to it, you must have bumped a cigarette from somebody, they were laced with K2, or you did this, or you did that. And it's like, no, I know that I didn't take any drugs, I know I've been diligent in this. Well, a couple weeks passed, Staten Island Mental Health Society goes along, and Staten Island Health Society's counselors realize, you know what, everybody that's taken this K2 test has tested positive. So the entire batch, they believe that there could be something wrong with it. So even the mental health counselors, they go there, and the supervisors, they start taking the tests, and they come back positive. That means anybody in the world, whether or not they were exposed to the test or not, would have tested positive. So one of the counselors says, what about all the people who tested and they're false positives? Don't we have to make a report back to the courts and to the ACS and everybody else? And the supervisor said, don't do anything until we say so. And then they go huddle up and they have a meeting. and they'll get worried that something's going to happen, they're going to get sued, or this, or that, they're going to get fired. They get directed not to make a report back to the courts, not to make a report back to the ACS, to withhold the truth. This is August when the test was done. There was no report to the courts and to ACS until December of last year. That's December of 2015. And the only reason why there was a report made was because there was a whistleblower. There was a mental health person that said, you know what? This is ethically wrong, this is morally wrong, this is legally wrong. I have to report this to the court, I have an obligation to. That person writes the letter. That person was terminated from the place, no longer there.
For doing the right thing. Somebody got terminated.
Somebody got terminated. And beyond that, the person who who we're talking about here, Janet Posley-Jordan, it's months later now into 2016, and as of the date of this filming, she is still not with her kids. So this is a situation where the judge came off the bench in family court and said, I am so sorry about this, but it's a bureaucratic red tape. This should be a story of happy and positive, and this woman did everything right. She did the right thing. She stuck by the program. She changed her life around, and this is great for the city, great for ACS, great for the family courts, great for Janet and her kids. Instead, this has become a tragedy because of a cover-up. They saw fit to engage in some type of cover-up. For what reason, I have no idea. And that's what we're going to get to the bottom of. We're going to get to the bottom of in this case. We're going to get to the bottom of why they would do something like that. When you're mandated to report, mistakes happen. It's not their fault that this test was a contaminated test.
Right.
It's not their fault.
How would they know?
It's not, how would they know? But the fault is that as soon as they realized it, they got to tell everybody. Because they're going to scream, to the high heavens that somebody has a positive test for drugs. But when there's a false positive, they have to scream even louder, to exonerate them. And that's something that we're going for in this case. We have to try and get to the bottom of what happened. Now, this group, Staten Island Mental Health Society, is a group that receives New York City Council funding.
I knew that word was going to come in your mouth.
They just received $450,000 in additional funding to fight heroin on Staten Island. Now, my question is this. We have a problem with heroin. We got a huge problem with heroin. We need all the resources that we can to fight heroin on Staten Island. We need law enforcement resources. We need mental health resources. We need, drug treatment resources. But the question is, are these resources being wasted if we can't trust the people that we give these resources to? That's the issue. And this case is of more important, than just Janet, because it's very important for Janet and her 5 children. That's the most important thing in this case, is that we get this mother and her children reunited. They're in foster care. They're not together. We bring them all back together. They're a family once again. And that's the most important thing in this case. But secondarily, and that very important, very close second on Staten Island, is what's going on here. If we're going to give city council funding to a group and entrust them with such an important task, who's getting this money? I think there should be council hearings on this. I really believe we need to do some oversight. It's scary that something like this can happen on Staten Island, because it shows that there's still some people that just don't understand treatment, and there's a stigma attached, I think, in my mind. That it's about health. It's about health, physical, mental, and that's really what it is. I think that some of these people who have reported mental health councils don't understand the basis of mental health. That we have to have places where people on the island who have health needs can be treated without stigma, without judgment. And that's the whole point about our justice system. Is when somebody has been unjustly wronged, then they have to be righted. That's the nature of our system. But you don't just you have to scream from the rooftops. So that's what we're going to try and do with this case. I'm really very optimistic about this case. We brought it in Kings County in Brooklyn to keep take out of Staten Island, because I think we're going to get a very a more impartial more partial case. You know, especially when you have you know, a lot of the stuff going on here. But it's also based on the venue requirements under the law, and the venue requirements allow for a case to be brought where the party resides, one of the parties resides. And Janet lives now in Brooklyn, so that's the basis of the venue there. And I think that we're going to have you know, a good chance there, because I think a lot of people are going to understand, you know, the system itself is broken. You know, and have an ACS situation where they look at you like the Grand Inquisitor. You know, and they have a group that is a private group, and that's another thing. It's like, you know, where are the protocols? You know, where are the protocols? You know, that they have in place. But you know, we did our press conference on the steps of the courthouse in front of the statue of the great Senator Robert Francis Kennedy, who was a great family man and came from a great family. And I think we have some video from that, right?
We do, actually. I think we're going to go right into that right now. So if you guys want to take a look at that, join us.